All right. Good afternoon, Midlothian ISD. It is great to virtually see each and every one of you on our 3:30 staff meeting today. We are pushing up the numbers of nearly 200 on the call. I'm sure more will be popping in soon. But as always, if you've got a few questions or comments or anything, please put them in the chat. I'm going to jump in here to MISD Proud. We've got a lot of things to share today. And so I'm going to get started. So last Friday, I had the opportunity to visit the Laura Jenkins Early Learning Center, and I had to, of course, start out MISD Proud this morning with that. Miss Glenda took me around. I got to go in all the classrooms, and she literally named every one of those babies over there. And I thought it was so cool because so many of their faces, I recognize your faces. They look just like you, and so that was a great experience to get to see those babies. And to know that they're so well taken care of over there. So just a shout out to Miss Glenda and our daycare staff. They're doing great things at the Learning Center. And so you have beautiful children. So congratulations. It was awesome to get to see them. I also got to visit yesterday the Mile Bistro. It was great to see our kids prepping and planning for a soft opening. I'm going to talk about that in a little more in a minute. But I got to hear about chicken Alfredo and a Texas-sized barbecue burger coming up. So stay tuned for more on that. And the Mile has also been featured in a paper released by Very. Very, V-A-R-I, used to be Veridesk, and they are the furniture company that supplied the flexible walls and workspaces inside the Mile. And they have been so impressed with the space that's been created over there that they wrote a paper about the setup of the Mile. So congratulations to Ms. Blaylock and Ms. Nix and the Mile staff for being featured in that paper. We also, I want to do a shout out today to our MISD librarians, our library media specialists. They've had an amazing fall 2020 statistics. Ms. Autry puts that together and shares that information, and we are MISD proud to share that over 36,000 physical books were circulated in the fall and over 5,000 ebooks circulated as well. We appreciate our library and media specialists, their continued support to teaching and learning. They've been incredibly flexible as they've had to cull books and take them to classrooms and help cover during specials. And so just wanted to take a moment to recognize our librarians because they are a great asset to our district. Earlier today at 11:30, as we got to go over and serve as guest speakers at the Midlothian Chamber of Commerce monthly luncheon. It was the State of the District address. And as you can imagine, it was our honor to share the amazing work each of you are doing on a daily basis across all 6 of our district goals. We got to talk about things, obviously some of the things they wanted to hear about COVID, but more importantly, we talked about culture. We talked about the things happening in our classrooms, the things happening, amazing things happening with our transportation department and how they're taking care of our kids at the wee hours of the morning and the late hours of the day. And so it was great to be able to share that with community. I've loved seeing the Great Kindness Challenge kicking off at several schools this week across the district. We love seeing the support of the power of a positive influence. So continue sharing that information and those pictures on your social media outlets. This week, we also celebrated National School Resource Officer Day. We absolutely love our partnership with our SROs. They work day in and day out, keeping our schools safe and secure. But at the same time, they're creating positive relationships with students and staff. And we are so appreciative of that partnership with our city and having our SROs as part of our MISD family. So please take a moment if you haven't already and thank your SRO. I want to encourage you to keep posting your MISD proud moments. We love scrolling through Twitter and Facebook and seeing glimpses of excellence across the district on a daily basis. It truly is a great way to end my night every evening when I'm able to get on there and see so many things going on across the district. So thank you for pushing things out and sharing the experiences in your classrooms. So I'm going to jump into the agenda today. We have the first thing I want to just remind you, because it's a quick turnaround, but that MEF grant deadline is Friday. The Midlothian ISD Education Foundation extended that deadline for the Innovative Teaching Grant applications to this week. They have actually budgeted over $50,000 for these grants. So this is their largest giveaway to date. So COVID has made demands. Ms. Kelker wanted me to share COVID's made demands on our teachers like never before. And this may seem like one more thing on a long list, but they promise this process is worth it. And so please apply for a grant because they want to see an application from every campus. And again, they have over $50,000 to distribute for this grant cycle. The naming committee for elementary and number 8, which just a quick reminder, it will open August of 2022 on the corner of Hawkins Run and 14th Street. It's the naming committee kicked off last night, and Ms. Blaylock is leading that. It follows our CW local district policy. And they will be launching a website on which you can submit names in the coming days, name submissions for the naming of elementary 8. So more information will be coming on this topic, but just wanted to let you know that process is starting, and we will look to have a name for elementary number 8 sometime in May, hopefully at the May 17th board meeting. This week, we did hold a board workshop on Monday. We discussed academic progress and assessments. Working to streamline this effort to be more efficient and effective along gathering valuable data. We've been listening to teachers and hearing conversations and trying to get some input from you. And so our board was extremely impressed with the Department of Learning and the work that you guys are doing on a daily basis. And so we're going to continue those conversations, and Ms. Blaylock will be reaching out and Ms. Krisnack and having some conversations with teachers about their experiences with assessments this year and moving forward. The board also continued discussions on additional monetary support for staff. They're very invested in supporting teachers. I've been hearing the conversations firsthand. They want to support staff and teachers in every possible way during a time such as this. They agreed to hold a public hearing at the February board meeting, and then they can seek action on providing additional appreciation supplemental pay for staff. So stay tuned on that. It was a very positive conversation, and we look forward to that public hearing in February and possible action on that. Our board had a short discussion also on Monday night regarding the superintendent search firm proposals that were received in the RFP process. We received 6 search committee submissions. 4 of those are in state and 2 of them are out of state. And so our board will come back to this item as a possible action item next Tuesday at the regular January meeting. And while our enrollment has leveled off this year, the residential growth continues to boom with new developments in all areas of the school district. We're always on the lookout for future school sites. And this past Monday night, I'm excited to say the school board approved moving forward with negotiations on 4 additional pieces of land that would accommodate future school sites. So I appreciate Mr. Norris and Mr. Blackwell and their teams as they work to help keep us proactively prepared for growth in this community. We will have a demographer report this next Tuesday night, and if you're online watching or there in person, you will see the growth is, even though COVID's happened, the growth is still here. So speaking of Tuesday at our regular meeting, just a few topics I want to let you know they're going to be up for discussion, information, discussion, or action. Just a reminder, it's School Board Appreciation Month, so we will celebrate our school board members and during a time of recognition. But also on there for information only, Mr. Garricani and the MTAC committee will be discussing the empowered device refresh recommendations. That'll be an information only item Tuesday night. Ms. Fitzgerald will also be discussing the attendance boundary and zoning updates. That committee will have met 2 times by that point, so she'll have some information to share with the board. We'll also have Brent Alexander, our demographer, on for the 3rd quarter 2020 update and report. It's always very interesting what he has to say, and the pictures that he shows, the aerial shots of neighborhoods and streets that are dirt that's turned to streets and all of those things. So if you get a chance to get on there and watch that, I think you'll find it very interesting. The board will also consider naming a superintendent search firm, and they will also potentially accept a recommendation or act on a recommendation for the MHS principal candidate, of which Dr. Heathcote's going to come on in a little bit and give you a little more of an update on that process. So last week, Dr. Heathcote shared that the FFCRA COVID leave was not extended by the feds after December 31st. I'm happy to say that our board voted on Monday night to adopt a resolution that will extend that FFCRA benefit to our staff through June 30th. And we greatly appreciate their dedication to protecting our staff during COVID. And I just want to give you a fact. This one investment just for the FFCRA COVID leave alone, that the dollar amount on those days is estimated to be about $950,000 over the fall and spring semesters for staff. So we appreciate the commitment that board has made to commit almost $1 million to covering FFCRA so that we have the days for our teachers and our staff for COVID leave. As I mentioned earlier, I visited the Mile yesterday. They're preparing to do a soft opening later this month. From the front of the house ordering and customer service to the back of the house cooking and the expo, the students are designing and creating a unique menu this month for the bistro. The Complete Student Run Bistro will host a soft opening later this month, so be watching your email sometime next week for menu items and ordering options for curbside delivery at the mile, or curbside pickup at the mile. Dr. Heathcote's here today, and she's going to jump on and share a few things with you from HR and Student Services. So Dr. Heathcote, welcome.
All right. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone. So last week, like Dr. Carpenter shared, I told you guys that FFCRA, you may know it as EPSLA or EFMLA, but basically COVID leave, expired on December 31st. This week, we did take that recommendation to the board, asking that they extend the current FFCRA guidance for district employees from January the 4th through June 30th, and the board graciously approved this recommendation. So in the event that you were out due to COVID during the first week of the spring semester, you are covered by FFCRA. I just want to remind everyone that once that benefit is exhausted, you must use personal time for any COVID-related absences. And then this flexible leave does not start over for the spring semester. So if you didn't exhaust it during the fall, you've still got it for the spring. If you use some of the days in the fall, you've still got some left for the spring as well. And if you ever have questions about that, you can always reach out to me. But just as another reminder, EPSLA covers staff members for 10 days, plus the additional 3 days that the board gave you back at the beginning of the year for people who test positive for COVID, or if you're experiencing symptoms of COVID, or if you are exposed to an infected individual. So that would cover you for those 13 days. EFMLA is the benefit that allows an employee to receive 2/3 of their daily rate when they're unable to work due to a COVID-related childcare closure. And so if you've got questions about that or experience something like that, feel free to reach out to me and we can work through those issues. Like Dr. Carpenter said, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the MHS principal search. Over the last week or so, we've interviewed multiple candidates for the MHS principal position. The interview panel included MHS teachers, MHS parents, campus administrative staff, as well as district administrators. We plan to take a recommendation to the board on Tuesday for the principal position and then announce a timeline for the individual to get started. Dr. Carpenter also spoke about the 2021-2022 calendar survey results. So we do have all of that information out. So I want to thank everyone who took the time to respond to the calendar survey this year. If you remember, staff members and members of the community had the opportunity to offer suggestions and needs for the development of the calendar options. And so the committee got together and developed 3 different calendar options. We have the results back, what the recommendation would be at this point, and it's just information only for this meeting. But right now, what we're reporting to the board is that calendar C is in the lead, with parents and community preferring that one at 54.6% and staff preferring it at 52.5%. So you probably don't remember which one you voted on. So just a little bit of information about that. Calendar C does have a Monday start for students. It has 2 mini breaks built in for students. That's October 11th through the 12th, and then February 21st and 22nd. And it also gives students a 6-day Thanksgiving break. So all staff members would have that full week off at Thanksgiving, and then students would have an additional day after that. So those are kind of the highlights, but thank you for participating in the calendar survey. And that's all I have, Dr. Carpenter.
All right, thank you very much. So just kind of as we get ready to finish up my items, over the next few weeks and months, we're going to bring you a series on The More You Know. You probably kind of remember seeing these types of public service announcements over the years. I remember seeing them, gosh, as a child, and then they've continued over the years. But we want to bring you district information that might not fall directly in your lane, but would be greatly beneficial to you as you serve as MISD ambassadors in our community, but also in our schools. This conversation came up a little bit yesterday with our teacher ambassador group, and it's also been something we've been talking about doing with our community update. So today's The More You Know Spotlight is brought to you by the Department of Learning, and Shelley Blaylock, who is our new Senior Director of C&I, is going to join us today, and she's going to take you briefly through some really robust information regarding CTE and our course offerings for our secondary students. They're in the process of doing course selections. This information is good for all grade levels, all students, elementary and secondary, but for elementary, it helps equip teachers and staff with a myriad of resources to engage in conversations with students about passions, and then courses that might help them explore those passions as they get older. So, Mrs. Blaylock, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, MISD. It is so exciting to get to visit with you today. And although it's hard to believe that we're already talking about the 21-22 school year, the time is here, especially if you are at secondary campuses. Our counselors and staff are furiously starting the conversation with students about what do you want to take next year? And we're still, in the middle of this school year, but it's timely. And so there are some really amazing tools that our staff have worked so hard to pull together to help our families and students make these critical decisions as they're looking toward their future. So I wanted to get to share some of these tools with you. And elementary campuses, last year I had the honor of getting to come and speak to you with Mrs. Nix, and we talked to you about career pathways and how it's not too soon for us to start talking to our students about their ideas for the future. And so some of these tools that I'm sharing with you today will be helpful in you getting to expose your students to things that they might want to be interested in. So I'm going to share my screen with you and kind of walk you through exactly where you can find these tools. So as you look at our main site on our webpage, if you go to Student Life and click on 21-22 course selection, it will take you to this one-stop shop. And here we have a great video starring one of our own students that's walking all of our community through what is available to us. And over here on the side, we have all these tools. So the first one you can go to is Courseware on Demand. And I really think this might be the most comprehensive documents showing everything that we have available to us. So if you click through any of the pages, you'll be able to see the campus. Like this is an example from Walnut Grove that went to 5th grade students and parents, showing them all the courses and taking them through this process. Campuses such as Midlothian High School also has a comprehensive slide deck connected here that when families click into it, they can pick their area of interest. This is also where we are excited to get to highlight the new courses that we are getting interest from students in, that they might be interested in. You can go through all of the fine arts and electives. So this is a great place for you to not only expose students, but to learn a lot about what we offer here in Midlothian ISD. In addition, you can also find the academic planning guide for both high schools and junior highs. And within this area, it gives you content and explanation of a lot of the courses that we are offering, which it's important for us to know, even down in elementary school, which is where much of my time was spent, is important to us. But sometimes students keep talking to us about, let's say that they want to go into aerospace engineering. And you as a teacher are wondering, what in the world can I tell them? Where can I get more information? Well, this page, Career and Technical Education, which there is a link for that also on our Courseware on Demand page, has all of the areas that we provide additional career pathway courses. And so if I were to click into aerospace engineering for this student, it takes us to our rack cards. Sorry about the streaming there. And so here on these rack cards, it gives you an explanation of what that career and technical education course looks like. It talks about what careers are a possible option for that student. And then it gives them a glance at what that could look like in high school. So it shows them what cluster it's in, what endorsement it is, and then what their course series might look like, as well as what other classes might be of interest to them. This is a wealth. There is a wealth of information here that you can possibly want. And as elementary teachers that are on this call, and even teachers within junior high and high school, I encourage you to reach out to the experts that we have in our district. It's very exciting to get into these classrooms and see what's happening in our pathways. And sometimes we're seeking guest speakers outside of our district, which is great, but we have some amazing students and staff that would love to stream into your classrooms. So in the next few weeks, you're going to get to meet some of those students and staff, as we will have guest CTE students that are going to come and share their experiences. So I hope you'll go and visit some of our tools.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Blaylock. If you can think of other areas that you'd like to see on our upcoming staff meeting and the More You Know series, please feel free to email me and we will work to get those in. One final note, we're in the infancy stages of forming a design team to begin proactively looking at potential solutions for virtual and face-to-face learning in the event we continue to need both platforms next year. there's a lot to still be determined, but we feel it's best to start planning and be proactive this spring. We know the legislature is meeting. They just kicked off this week, and TEA will have to make some funding decisions. But that won't stop us from being visionary and looking ahead to make sure things are better than the way we found them. So stay tuned for more information on that. We just don't want to wait too long and then not have a solution. So we're going to be looking for your expertise and brains to help us work through that. So thank you for joining us. We were on just a tad bit longer today, but we had a lot of great information we wanted to get out to you. So as always, you know where to find us. Any of my esteemed panelists, do we have any questions we need to address?
Dr. Carpenter, there is a question about someone's asking, when a student tests positive in a classroom, is there an option to receive a letter that's not as generic as what we refer to as letter 1? So we've considered this multiple times and continue to look at different ideas of letting people know and making sure that people know when they were in close contact. However, at this time, no, we are not able to send out a letter that's more specific to a classroom, and it's really to protect the child who is infected or the teacher who's infected. What we do is through our close contact tracing, we ensure that, are the children good mask wearers? Are the other kids in the class who weren't infected good mask wearers? And we go through all of those things. And when we determine that somebody is in close contact, we contact their parents by phone and then let them know. So at this time, no, we can't release that information. But please know that we are tracking as much as we can and as best as we can, just to ensure that we are quarantining the appropriate people. So I hope that helps answer the question.
Yes, thank you. And when we talked about that, and we have received legal guidance on that and talked through that process, we don't want to indirectly identify, and because quarantining time is 14 days, it's very easy to indirectly identify. So appreciate the question and the content or comments, but that is where we are at this point. So thank you, Dr. Heathcote. All right, well, I think that's all we have. I just jumped into the chat, and hope everyone has a great day, and we will see you soon. Bye.